It flew away.
There's definitely a component of service to being a leader. We are a Catholic school, so one of the things we learn about is how Jesus led. I was always used to being coached by my dad. I was always used to having a very personal relationship with my coach. So when Mr. Monachino was my coach, I kind of realized I am gonna have this again.
He never was very menacing, even though he's a very tall person.
He was always here in the mornings helping people with math homework. He loved to teach kids, even though he was just our principal.
We would start at 6 o'clock in the morning every single day.
He was an encourager. He pushed me to be the best I could be.
I asked him, why do you teach a class? Don't you have other things to do? And he's like, well, this is one way I can interact with the students more and help grow them not only in their faith, but also in their education.
Joe was absolutely amazing, just always being there for me and mentoring me and just helping me through my math and helping me gain self-confidence.
If I had troubles, he'd treat it as a friend-to-friend situation.
I went on to play basketball at Missouri State, and each of my 5 years there, he made an effort to come to one of my games.
It is very difficult to come in not knowing how to play a sport. So being a leader means learning how to persevere.
I always wanted to be a surgeon. I don't care how long it takes. To give healing to someone is extraordinary.
I ended up getting rejected from the West Point process, heartbroken. But I ended up a couple of weeks later, doing an interview, getting this ROTC scholarship that pays for my full education.
One of the best ways to become a leader is to be humble and accept that you're not always going to be a perfect leader, but that you're always going to try.
My faith is, without a doubt, the most important thing to me. I really have found a calling and a passion to mentor people I'm around.
I'm an adult now. I'm going into college now. I'm serving my country now.
I never thought I'd be in the press box broadcasting to a lot of SPX families. I never thought that was possible.
My intent is to show, not only to my parents especially, because they always say, God has a plan for you, do everything for God, but also my little sister, she's a freshman, that anything is possible if you put your mind into it. You have so much support behind you, love behind you, and you have your faith with you. You don't have to be afraid.
I'll be honest, I never thought Mr. Monachino would ever leave St. Pius X. When he first told me, I had absolutely no idea that I would be given the opportunity, to lead the school as the principal. I wanted to also be a good leader, and he reminded me that there was only one perfect person. That gives me great solace, and I've tried to pass this on to our young people. Our mission is bringing people into the family, and I think our students right now, more than ever, really are craving that opportunity to be a part of this community and all that we have to offer. That's what makes this job the most rewarding, is to feel literally like you are making a difference in not only just the student's life, but for eternity.
For 2 years, I taught at Nativity, coached at Pius. I was ready to leave grade school and thinking about maybe teaching special ed. I called Joe and he said, I don't have anything open now, but I'll keep you in mind. And I'll never forget, it was 4 hours later, I was at club practice for volleyball and I get a call from Joe and he said, you're not gonna believe this, my special ed guy just quit. He was outside the door when you called me earlier. So we interviewed, I ended up taking the job, getting my master's in special ed, and I've been here since 2015, teaching. Joe was gracious enough to say, hey, this is your thing. You create it how you want it. That's a true leader to me, and that just makes me want to be that even more.
After I graduated Pius, I started to realize that I only felt fulfilled when I was in the Catholic community. I graduated from Truman State, and then I worked for the EWTN and got a lot of experience in the broadcasting field. So then coming back and teaching here at Pius, Mr. Monachino was a very caring boss and caring principal. That's something that I never realized as a student, is how much he actually cared for the faculty, because I started to learn the ins and outs of what it's like to be a teacher here, like how closely everyone actually does work together. Some of the best bonding happens at the beginning of the school year. It's hard as a high school student to realize what's important. You're going to all these clubs and doing all these sports and everything. It's just so fulfilling to know that what you're doing is helping to build up the church. You're growing these kids to hopefully make Christ the center of all things.
Last wrestling season, I got a concussion that eventually would halt my football career, but it was our football retreat my freshman year when I first experienced the Mass. As I began to take my first theology course, Father Reeb encouraged the whole class to pray for the desire to be holy. That next Tuesday when we had Mass, I asked God, help me to have a desire and a love for striving to be holy. Something happened that day. Each theology class received a form to fill out about their faith, and at the bottom it asked if I was interested in becoming a Catholic. I put yes. I said I was all in. This is the first year that St. Pius is offering the RCIA course. Eventually, my little brother was introduced to the Mass a few weeks before he started his freshman year, and he came to me and said, I would like to come to Mass with you. So I'm sure he's got that same fire brewing in his heart, and we've been going together to Mass ever since. As he matures in his faith, I think he's starting to see the beauty of Catholicism, and my parents said that they were going to support me. So I'm hoping that eventually, through me and him, I can spread that to the rest of my family and carry them through that journey with me. I love seeing myself, my friends, my teammates all being able to not only compete together on the field, but also to discover what we're looking for through the church.
We moved here in 1965. My dad got a job here, so I've been terrorizing these halls for a long time. Graduated in '81, then went to college, and then came back as a teacher. They were looking for a math teacher and a coach. It wasn't the plan, but that was God's plan, so we went with it. I always allowed kids to retake tests as many times as they needed to retake it, because I wanted them to know it. That process of learning, of struggling through something that's difficult, was way more important to me than like the quadratic formula. I love teaching the game of basketball. I mean, you know, losing games that you're not supposed to lose, winning games you're not supposed to win. Those are important life lessons that you can always teach kids along the way. But whatever that activity is for kids, to come in contact with one of us in the building, not as a teacher, is so important. So I think I always knew that I needed to be there for them when they're happy, when they're sad. They got to know that you care about them, or they're not going to do anything for you. The Catholic high school's responsibility is to make lifelong Catholics out of kids. A good Catholic teacher needs to have a good, solid relationship with Christ themselves, and then the relationship to the kids. The sacrifice that our parents make, those things never went unnoticed by me. I've been blessed for 37 years, but somebody else was before me and somebody's going to be after me. I just hope I left it in a pretty good place. I've always hoped for one thing for the families that send their kids here, that within these walls, they're going to find God, have a relationship with Jesus Christ, because that's where the truth is, and that's why this school's been here since 1956, and realize He's there. I mean, He's there working through you and taking care of you.